Hello students, today we are going to study a very beautiful chapter. Beautiful in the sense because it's very important. As per your duties, we always know that what is our rights, okay, but we forget about our duties. One of our constitutional duties is to vote and elect a responsible government, a government who caters for the entire population irrespective of their caste, their religion, their color, their personal beliefs, no matter if even if they are not of their own ideology, they don't believe in their ideology, even if they have voted for the opposition party, the government should be such that they should not be biased and they should allow everybody to prosper. So that is our responsibility. So you all know today which chapter we are going to study. We are going to study about elections. So as you all know that democracy is a form of a government in which the people have a say in who should hold power and how the power should be used. When we say that, when we read this sentence, what do you mean by that the people have a say? In what way do the people have a say? It clearly means that you have got the power to reject a government which is not capable, to reject a government who in its tenure has not lived up to the expectations of the people. If you are happy with the government, you can re-elect the government, and if you're cross, if you are angry, if you're not satisfied with the government, you in the next election can vote this government out by voting a more responsible, a better party which can bring up the country, which can make the country and the people to prosper. In a democracy, citizens choose or elect their representatives either directly or indirectly to run the country. So there are two types of elections: direct elections and indirect elections. Okay, we will discuss about direct and indirect election a little later in this chapter. So elections is a procedure whereby persons are chosen by voting to represent the voters for running the government. The people who are in power are actually your representatives. It is you who has given them power to be in that position. They are meant to serve you. They are meant to see to your needs, cater to your needs, rather than rule over you. They are not the rulers. This is not a Rajtantra. It is Prajatantra. This is not imperialism where a king rules over his subject. So neither any prime minister nor any chief minister can say that this is his government, that this is my government, because the government is not about that person's government. It is the government that you have elected. It is your government. They should work for you, not dominate you. Generally, there is a contest between different candidates for the same position. Thus, in the elections, there are winners and losers. Okay, sadly, this year we didn't go to school. Physically, we were absent from school. Otherwise, in school, we have this elections. We elect our head boys, head girls, then our school captains, house captains, vice captains. This is a small way of democracy. The most popular student, the person who you feel can bring up the name of the school, is chosen as the head boy or a head girl. The person you feel that under his or her leadership your house would win, we elect such a person as our house captain. In the similar way, we must be responsible to elect our representatives, our persons who we want to run our government, to take our country further. So generally there are candidates who contest for the same position. Either they are representative of a particular party. There are so many national parties in India, like the Congress party, then we have the Shiv Sena, then we have the BJP, and we have that, what is that party with the Aam Aadmi, the Jhadu symbol, Aam Aadmi party, and then we have the NCP party. There are so many parties. Okay, we have the Bhasapa, Bahujan Samaj Party, and all those parties. So every party aspires to represent the public at the state level, at the central level. So they contest against each other. They have their own agendas, they have their own visions for the development of the country. So looking at the agenda, looking at the policies, we can elect the representatives. Thus, in the elections, there are winners and there are losers. In modern societies, elections are fought on party lines. A political party is a group of people holding similar views or beliefs. Any political party or a combination of parties getting the largest number of votes form the government. So, uh, see here, in modern days, we talk about parties. Now, what is a party? If you believe in a particular system, like if you feel that you want to develop secularism in the country, what is secularism? Where each and every religion has equal importance. We don't consider any one religion above the other. That is secularism. If you feel that my Muslim friends, my Christian friends, my Hindu friends, my Jain friends, my Parsi friends, my Sikh friends, they are all the same to me. Nobody is important because of his religion. Then you are a secular person. So, if you have a secular mindset, you would join a party which is secular. You would vote for a party which is secular. But if you feel that no, my religion is the best religion and no other religion is better than mine, you would tend to vote for a candidate who belongs to your community, who belongs to your religion. Whatever you feel, if you feel that if I vote for my candidate who belongs to my religion and he will take my religion and my country further, then that is your choice. But if you feel that the development of the nation depends on each and every individual, the development of a country is when you treat everybody equally, you give everybody an equal opportunity where everybody can put in their bit of talent, then you should vote for a party which is secular in nature. In this way, it is your choice, it is you who would decide the future of the country. If India is doing well, it will be because of you, and if India is going down, if the GDP of India is falling down, it is because of your choice, the choice that you have made. Don't blame the government for it later on, because the choice was given to you. You should be a responsible person while electing your government. It is your government. Now, as I was telling you, that there are two types of elections: direct elections and indirect elections. People of India directly elect their representatives to the Lok Sabha and the state legislative assemblies. So, you see that we have general elections once every 5 years. Generally, we have once every 5 years if it's a normal circumstances. Under some certain circumstances, when the government is dissolved in between, so we call it a midterm election. And at times when any elected candidate passes away, or he or she resigns from the government, so we have a post that is vacant and we vote for another candidate for the same post. It is called as by-polls. So general elections, midterm elections and by-polls are also a part of election. So generally, when we elect a government once in 5 years, this is called as a general election. We elect representatives to the central government, we elect representatives to the state government. The representative elected to the central government are called as MLCs, or MLAs are members of the Legislative Assembly, that is your state government, and MPs, member of parliament. Members of parliament are members who are elected to the Lok Sabha, right? So people are directly elected to the state legislative assembly and to the Lok Sabha. The members of the state legislative assembly are known as MLAs. They are directly elected by the people of the state. Okay, we have right now we have the Shiv Sena government, which is doing fantastically well. This in such a tough situation, the Shiv Sena government is doing very well. Though it's a coalition, generally a coalition government, it is very difficult to make every party to understand its terms and condition. But surprisingly, the Shiv Sena, the Congress, and the National Congress (NCP), they have formed an alliance. Though the ideologies are totally different, the Shiv Sena's ideology is different from the NCP's and the Congress party, but yet shedding away differences and looking at the situation that India is passing through, they have done exceptionally well under this COVID situation. They have, you can say, it's a storm situation where the captain has sailed his ship successfully. Till now, they have done very well. So we must pat ourselves on the back for electing a very responsible government for running our state. So the members elected to the state legislative assembly are called as MLAs. The members of the Lok Sabha are known as the members of the parliament, MPs. Okay, or members of the Lok Sabha. They under the existing poll system, elections are held on party lines. The party or a combination of parties having the largest number of legislatures elect the leaders from amongst themselves, who is made the chief minister or the prime minister, as the case may be. So the present political system is such that we tend to vote for a party. We may not be knowing the person personally, but if the person belongs to the BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party, if the person belongs to the Congress party, if the person belongs to the Shiv Sena, if the person belongs to the NCP, if we are familiar, we like the policies of the Bharatiya Janata Party, we vote for the Bharatiya Janata Party. If we like the policy of the Congress, we vote for the Congress. If we like the policy of the Shiv Sena, we vote for the Shiv Sena. So we first tend to understand their policies. We see the leader. Who is the leader? Who is leading the party? Is he capable enough to govern the country? Is the country safe in his hand, under his guidance? Looking at the leader, we tend to vote for the party. We may not be knowing the person who is contesting elections from our constituency, but because he belongs to one of the parties that we favor, we go and vote for that party. We vote for that candidate. Okay, and the leader of that party who gets the maximum vote is either made the chief minister if it is the election for the state, and he's made the prime minister if it is the election for the Lok Sabha. This was direct elections. Then we have indirect elections. India has two types of legislatures, both at the union and the state level. Okay, India is a bicameral. We have a bicameral legislature. Oh, we have at the center we have the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Okay, so India has two types of legislatures, both at the union level and at the state level. At the state level, only some states have the second house called the Vidhan Parishad, the Legislative Council or the upper house. At the union level, the upper house is known as the Rajya Sabha, which is a permanent house. The election to both houses at the state and the union level is indirect. That is, the representatives are not directly elected by the people. The elected representatives of the people of both the houses, the elected members of the upper house, both at the center as well as the state. In the case of Legislative Council, members are elected by members of the Legislative Assembly from amongst persons who are not the members of the Legislative Assembly. So in the state level, we have the Vidhan Parishad, and in the national level we have the Rajya Sabha. So who are the members of the legislative or the Vidhan Parishad? These people who are not the members of the legislative assembly, that means they have not been elected to the state legislature, they can be elected to the Vidhan Parishad. It is done, how it is done? It is done by people who are elected to the state legislature. जो जीत कर स्टेट इलेक्शन में जीत कर जो इलेक्ट होकर आते हैं, वह लोग ऐसे सदस्य को चुनते हैं जो उनको रिप्रेजेंट करे, उनके आइडियोलॉजीज़ को रिप्रेजेंट करे विधान परिषद में. वैसे ही इन द सेम वे राज्यसभा कंसिस्ट ऑफ नॉट मोर देन 250 members, out of which 238 members are elected by the elected members of the legislative assembly of each state. तो राज्यसभा में जो लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली के MLAs जो है, उनमें से हर स्टेट में से टोटल मिलाकर 238 मेंबर्स को इलेक्ट करते हैं. टोटल स्ट्रेंथ कितना है? 250. 250 में से 238 अगर माइनस करो तो कितना बचता? 12 बचता. तो ये रिमेनिंग 12 मेंबर्स का क्या होता है? ये अपने फील्ड के स्पेशलिस्ट होते हैं, उनमें स्पेशल टैलेंट होता है. सो दे आर पीपल हु आर नॉमिनेटेड फॉर देयर यूनिक टैलेंट फ्रॉम वेरियस फील्ड, फ्रॉम द फील्ड ऑफ स्पोर्ट्स, फ्रॉम द फील्ड ऑफ सोशल वर्क, फ्रॉम द फील्ड ऑफ साइंस, फ्रॉम द फील्ड ऑफ लिटरेचर. So they are people who are nominated by the president. The remaining 12 members are nominated by the president from among persons having special knowledge or particular experience in matters such as literature, science, art and social service. फिर election to the president. How is the president and the vice president elected? ये भी बड़ी दिलचस्पी वाली चीज़ है. The president is elected through the electoral college. Now, what does the electoral college consist of? It consists of the elected members of the state, that is MLAs. It consists of the elected members of the Lok Sabha MPs and Rajya Sabha executives. ठीक है. So all of them, they either from amongst themselves or a person of national repute, they select a candidate. He is first nominated, then seconded, and then elections are held, and that person is made the president of the country. That is the indirect form of election for the president. In the case of vice president, the MLAs are excluded. The vice president is elected by the members of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha only. Okay, so election to the president and the vice president of India. In both these cases, the elections are indirect. The President of India is elected indirectly by the members of the Electoral College consisting of the elected members of both houses of the Parliament and the elected members of the Legislative Assembly of the states, including the National Capital Territory of Delhi and the Union Territory of Pondicherry. Okay, the remaining Union Territories, they don't elect, they are not given the right to elect the President, except for Pondicherry and except for Delhi. Delhi is a union territory, union, though it is a capital, it is a state also, and it's a union territory too. The election takes place in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of a single transferable vote. इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका ये है, मीनिंग ये है that election to the president is done on the basis of single transferable vote. If a state like Maharashtra, okay, the population of Maharashtra is quite high, the population of Uttar Pradesh is the highest, so Uttar Pradesh will get more voting powers than Maharashtra. It first will be Uttar Pradesh, then Maharashtra. Goa is a very small state with very less population. So if Uttar Pradesh has the power at the ratio of 60 votes per MP or per MLA, Maharashtra will have 40, but Goa will have only 2. Assam, which is even a smaller state with lesser population, will have only 1, depending on the population. So that is proportional to the population. Like the president, the election of the vice president is also indirect. The vice president is elected by members of both houses of the parliament. In this election, the state legislature do not take part. Early in this chapter, I have also spoken about general elections. The election held to elect the members of the Lok Sabha after expiry of the normal term of 5 years is called as general elections. Elections to some state legislature assembly may be held along with the parliamentary elections. Early up to 1957, simultaneous elections were held for both the Lok Sabha and the state assemblies. However, on account of early dismissal and mid-term elections, the two got gradually separated. So the general election were in the initial state, both the state government elections and the central government elections were held together. Then because of, sometimes the state government was dissolved mid-term or the Lok Sabha was dissolved mid-term and they got separated. Okay, so generally a general election is which is held after every 5 years, either for the central government or for the state government. They are known as general elections. And the mid-term elections, as I told you, this type of election is held when a state legislative assembly or the Lok Sabha is dissolved before the completion of its full term of 5 years. The new house will normally have a full 5-year term. ऐसा नहीं है कि मिड टर्म इलेक्शन हुआ 2.5 साल चल गए तो 2.5 साल के लिए फिर से इलेक्शन करेंगे, ऐसा नहीं होता. Okay, normally they have the full 5-year term. So this election is called as the mid-term elections. Then we have the by-elections. When a seat held by any member of the state legislative assembly in the center or state falls vacant on account of death, resignation or the member resignation of the member before completion of his or her term, to fill up this vacancy, the election which is held is called as by-elections. The person so elected remains the member for the unexpired term of the house. So यहाँ पर फ़र्क पड़ जाता है क्या कि सपोज नागपुर से नितिन गडकरी है, नितिन गडकरी जी है या देवेंद्र फडणवीस जी है, ये इलेक्ट होकर आए हैं. खुदा ना खास्ता ये बीच में से रिज़ाइन कर देते हैं, अपने पोस्ट से रिज़ाइन कर देते हैं. तो अभी लगभग नेक्स्ट इलेक्शन कब है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के लिए? 2022 में नेक्स्ट जनरल इलेक्शंस है. तो 2 साल का टर्म बचा है. तो नितिन गडकरी जी का जो पोस्ट वेकेंट होता है, अगर होता है तो हम ऐसा मान रहे हैं केवल, ठीक है, अगर ऐसा होता है तो नितिन गडकरी जी के लिए एक जो सीट वेकेंट हुई है उनके रेजिग्नेशन की वजह से, वहाँ पर फिर से इलेक्शन होंगी. और जो बचा हुआ जो 2 साल है, जो मेंबर जो भी कुछ इलेक्ट होकर आता है वह मेंबर जो है 2 साल के लिए वो पोस्ट ऑक्यूपाई करेगा, मिनिस्टर बन जाएगा. ठीक है. सो देन इलेक्शन कमीशन, दो इट इज़ नॉट इन द सिलेबस, इंडिया was once said to be having a very strong election commissioner. The election commission was not under influence of any political party. Election is the best way by which representatives of the people can be sent to the legislatures. India being a federal country makes provisions for holding elections both for the central and state legislatures. Hence, elections need to be free and fair with wide participation. Keeping in the view the great impact and significance of elections, the Constitution has made detailed provisions for the free and fair conduct of elections in Part 15, Article 324 and 329. So the Election Commission is said to be a very strong commission because it has control over the elections that is held in India. अगर इलेक्शन कमीशन नहीं होता तो स्ट्रांग नहीं होता तो क्या होता, हर साल जितने बार भी इलेक्शंस होंगे तो एक ही पॉलिटिकल पार्टी बार बार जीत कर आएगी. अपोजिशन को गवर्नमेंट में आने का मौका ही नहीं मिलेगा, गवर्नमेंट को अपोजिशन में जाने का चांस ही नहीं आएगा. बार बार अगर वही पार्टी जीत कर आती है, लोग नाखुश रहने के बावजूद भी अगर अधिकतम लोग उस पार्टी से नाराज़ है, अधिकतम लोग उस पार्टी को दोबारा वोट नहीं देना चाहते हैं, लेकिन अगर फिर भी वह पार्टी बार बार जीत कर आती है तो दाल में फिर कुछ काला है हमारा। उसका ये मतलब है फिर इलेक्शन कमीशन सही ढंग से अपना काम नहीं कर रहा। लेकिन अगर हम देखते हैं पिछले 70 सालों में जो इलेक्शंस हुआ है, शुरुआती के दौर में वी सॉ दैट ओनली द कांग्रेस वाज विनिंग। हर साल कांग्रेस पार्टी जीत कर आती थी। लेकिन बाद में ऐसा हुआ 90 के दशक से कि अकेली कांग्रेस पार्टी पूरा जो मेजॉरिटी वोट है वो जीत नहीं पा रही थी। यहाँ से ये संकेत देता है कि हमारा डेमोक्रेसी मैच्योर्ड हो चुका है, डेमोक्रेसी समझदार हो चुकी है, वो किसी एक पार्टी पर विश्वास नहीं करती। तो यहाँ से कोalition गवर्नमेंट बनना चालू हो गया था और इसी समय से इलेक्शन कमीशन भी सक्रिय हो गया था। इट वॉज एट दिस टाइम दैट द इलेक्शन कमीशन केम इनटू फोर्स। सो द इलेक्शन कमीशन saw to it that every party got an equal opportunity to win. It saw that the government was not making or not misusing the government mechanism, the government machinery. What is the government machinery? The television is the government machinery. The newspaper is the government machinery. If you see a particular leader coming on the television time and again, we can say that that particular leader is misusing the government machinery because he is not giving the opposition leader a chance to share the same platform as many times as that person is sharing. In such cases, we can say the government machinery is being misused. If we see that in print media, a particular party leader is projected time and again, we can say that the print media is not adequately represented or is not fair and just. It's a different thing when a party puts in its own paid ads. Paid advertisement is different from non-paid advertisement. You can pay for your ads. Your school can publish articles. The front cover, front page can show your school building and the achievement of your students of your school. That is paying for it. That's a paid advertisement. But if your school wins a match, a very tough contest, your school wins a championship, and in that case, when your school name comes in the newspaper, it is not a paid ad. It is the achievement of the school. So got my point? What is a paid advertisement and what is a non-paid advertisement? Right. Then composition of the election commission. Article 324 clause 1 to 6 deals with the composition of the election commission and other related issues. The chief election commissioner, CEC, stands at the top in the hierarchy of the election commission. The election commission consists of a chief election commissioner and other election commissioners. From 1950 to 1989, the election commission was a single member constitutional body. In 1989, the election commission was made a multi-member body. 2 more commissioners were appointed as the chief election commissioner was designated as the chairman of the commission. Thus, at present the election commission consists of 3 members. So the election commissioner is the person who keeps a check on the process of the election. Till 1989, the election commissioner was a single member. So that is why it was easy to he can be easily manipulated. But from 1990 onwards, 2 more members were appointed as the election commissioners, each having equal power. Though one of the election commissioner was made the president, but though other 2 election commissioners had the same power as the election commissioner. Okay, so if in case there was a dispute among them, they would be the best of 3. They would be voting amongst them, and the decision made by the maximum 2 out of 3 would be taken into account. The Chief Election Commissioner and the other commissioners are appointed by the President of India. This is done at the behest of the Prime Minister as per Article 74. The Regional Election Commissioner are also appointed by the President in consultation with the election commissioners. Regional Election Commissioner means when there's election between the state or a region. Okay. So here our chapter ends. I hope I have made this very, very clear to you all. So be responsible citizens. Right now you all are children, but when you grow up, see that you responsibly do your duties by voting at the time of elections. Many of we educated people, we don't go to vote. Whenever there is elections, the government gives a holiday. We tend to spend this holiday at home, or we tend to spend this holiday somewhere else. Rather than doing our duty, we have to go and vote. We have to elect a responsible government. If you are a true Indian, if you are a true patriot, use this power, this right to vote, and elect a responsible government which can bring peace and harmony and prosperity in the country. On this note, I sign off for today.